have you make this presentation.
And Chair, just if I may, for those of my colleagues that are from the City of Ottawa, this is Stuntman Stu. He is he's best known for his morning show, Magic 100 in the mornings, but he's also very famous because he's the Sens PA announcer. And of course, for all those Toronto Maple Leafs fans, he actually got to announce some games after the season ended. We actually made it in the playoffs here in the City of Ottawa.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think that office is any further. You know, being a radio announcer is very critical to just stay right on time. Thank you very much for being here, and you'll have 15 minutes to make your presentation, to use any or all of them for the presentation. Any time left over after you're finished with enough questions from the committee, the government side will be asking the questions in this one. So with that, we would ask you to give your name into the microphone as you start your presentation, and the next 15 minutes are yours.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stu Schwartz, and I host the morning show at Magic 100 here in Ottawa with Angie Corey and Trish Owens. Last fall, there was a local bullying story which we talked about on our show, and it brought back memories of my own childhood where I was bullied. We broke format that morning and took non-stop calls from frustrated parents, and a few hours after the show, we were still getting emails. I tweeted that day that if I have to go to every school in Ottawa and preach an anti-bullying message, I would, and then added the hashtag of No More Bullies. A few hours later, and a few thousand retweets, the No More Bullies tour was born. We never anticipated how big No More Bullies would get, and were shocked on the hundreds of frustrated emails from parents who've had enough with bullying in their own kids' schools. Our plan was not to enter the schools and tell the kids they've been learning it the wrong way, but to complement the message that the students are already getting, and we teamed up with some people in the community to help us spread that message. More on that in a moment. My own story of bullying started innocently enough in the 8th grade, where some other students were playing rough in gym class and I took the abuse. It continued afterwards in the locker room and went on to last almost 2 years. It became a regular occurrence where I had to avoid certain hallways or risk having my books pushed out from behind me or shoved in the locker. All this because during that period, I really didn't fit into any groups. I was embarrassed and never told my parents, and the few friends that I did have most likely knew but didn't say anything. It was a difficult stretch for me, and I kept it inside. I was never at the point of taking my own life, but there were plenty of times when I hated going to school, because I knew after a weekend of trying to forget about it that I was going to have to deal with it again on Monday morning. I remember breaking my leg playing hockey and thinking, well, at least I don't have to deal with the bullies, I'll get driven to school. After almost 2 years of dealing with the constant teasing, name-calling, and occasional shoving match, I marched into the principal's office, walked right past his assistant, which he never did, and demanded he do something. He called one of the bullies into his office and asked him right in front of me, why was he putting me through this? The bully's response was, I don't know. My thought was, are you kidding me? I've been dealing with this for almost 2 years, and the best you can come up with is I don't know. The principal told him that it was ending that day and to leave me alone. Much to my amazement, it did, and my only regret in life is letting me go that long. That's part of the message to the students, that no matter how bad you think it is, someone is there to help you. As we keep hearing, the zero tolerance policy is not being followed in every school, and I'm not sure if it's a lack of resources, but the problem is getting worse. Kids need to understand that their words can kill. As a father of two, I can deal with the anonymous rude emails on occasion, fake Twitter accounts, and assault that we sometimes get on social media, being in the media. I can't imagine what it must be like for an 11-year-old who has something written about them on Facebook, which they know isn't true, but their friends would think otherwise. We visited many schools with our No More Bullies tour, and with the permission of one frustrated mother whose child is dealing with the current bullying issue, here's part of her email to me last week. My concern for other families who are victimized by bullying and violence stems around the ability and knowledge to fight on behalf of their child who is the victim. In our society, we are taught to respect the police in schools and not to be selfish. Therefore, many parents follow the advice presented to them unhappily, without forcing that their child be treated appropriately. I would like all families to be supported by our government. This may be done by our government imposing more focus on the victim. She's asked to remain anonymous, but there are sadly many more emails like hers that have made their way into our radio station's No More Bullies email account. At this point, I'd like to introduce some of the members of the No More Bullies team. They're not here with me today, so I'll read all of their parts. First up is a piece written by Angie Poirier from the Magic Morning Show. She writes, "No child should ever be afraid to go to school, but for many children, this is their reality. Since we began the No More Bullies campaign at Magic 100, we have had the opportunity to connect with hundreds of parents on this topic as well. They've sent emails, social media messages, and have called us in tears asking for help. Some are at a loss, feeling helpless, and don't feel that cries for help for their bullied children are being heard. Parents have told us there is no consistency from school to school, teacher to teacher, principal to principal on how to properly and effectively deal with bullying. More needs to be done to educate, remedy, and ultimately save lives. There is no denying that the mental torment of bullying is affecting children now more than ever, to the point that some are harming themselves to the means of dealing with the pain. As a parent, Andrew writes, I know more needs to be done. We all know more needs to be done. Turning a blind eye is no longer an option. There are cries for help from the younger generation, and we all need to listen to do our part. The next part that I'll read is Patricia Owens, also from the Magic Morning Show, who's on our No More Bullies tour. She writes, I've been a broadcast journalist for more than a decade, and in all my years of reporting, I have to say that this past year seems to have been one of the worst when it comes to stories of young people being bullied and the drastic measures that many of them are taking to escape it all. We hear from the experts that bullying can't solely be blamed for a young person taking their own life, that there were likely other factors involved. But to think that it played a role in a child or young person making that heart-wrenching decision to end their life before it even had a chance to really begin is incredibly tragic. Schools have had their own anti-bullying programs in place, but clearly more needs to be done to put an end to this vicious cycle. As one city councilor told me, bullying is all about the mental and physical abuse of another human being. He went on to say that unless something is done to stop it, we will continue to bury more kids. The No More Bullies tour aims to draw awareness not only to these severe cases, but about the effects of bullying in general. It is our mission to keep the conversation going and encourage young people to take a stand against bullying. We want to help them find the courage to speak up, whether they're being bullied or know someone who has. This is an issue that is very near and dear to me, writes Tricia, not only because I have reported it on over the years, but also because I've lived it and I know the damage that it can do. Being picked on and called names when you're growing up and struggling to find out who you are and where you belong has damaging effects. Those hurtful words follow you for years and years. Elementary and high school are difficult enough for young people without the added stress of being bullied or feeling that they aren't good enough. Imagine waking up in the morning and being afraid to face the day because you have no idea what's waiting for you when you walk through the doors at school. The classroom should be a place where kids feel safe, not threatened. She concludes with bullying is certainly nothing new, but it's definitely gotten much worse over the years, and I wonder how many more lives need to be ruined before something is done to put an end to it once and for all. I don't profess to have all the answers, but I do know that parents, teachers, and community leaders can only do so much to help fix the situation, and perhaps now is the time for more affirmative action to be taken by the people we have elected to keep our cities and towns safe. Now I'll continue with a piece from Farron Gogo. She's with YouthNet and also joins us for each of our school presentations for No More Bullies. She writes, YouthNet, Rezo Edo, Ottawa, is for youth by Youth Mental Health Promotion Program run at the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. The goal of YouthNet is to promote positive mental health and destigmatization of mental illness and its treatment. Our programs and initiatives aim to provide alternative support programs for young people while allowing access to a clinical social worker at all times if additional support is necessary. YouthNet joined the No More Bullies tour in October 2011. YouthNet's part in the tour is to speak about the effects of bullying on youth mental health, such as increase of risk of anxiety, depression, and self-harm, along with a decrease in self-esteem and self-worth. The stigma and barriers to receiving help and where young people can access resources and programming if needed. YouthNet also provides each school with an information table at our No More Bullies presentations where young people can connect with a trained YouthNet staff member and with clinical support. YouthNet also makes connections within the schools to provide additional resource lists and information on youth mental health, as well as additional mental health presentations or focus groups if required. Being a youth-focused organization, Farron writes, bullying is a major theme that impacts young people that access our programs. When approached with the opportunity to engage youth through a dynamic presentation and allow for connections to resources they may not have been aware of, YouthNet made it a point to ensure ongoing support of the No More Bullies tour. YouthNet also supports the passing of Bill 14 to ensure such necessary in-school programs such as bullying prevention, remedial support for victims and perpetrators of bullying, as well as ongoing professional development programs for teaching staff. Bullying is not only an issue of young people, but a systemic issue needing support at all levels. And finally, I'll read a piece from Aaron Young, who closes out our presentation. Aaron is from the Red Cross and also joins us for our No More Bullies tour, which is made up of all these people, including one more, which I'll tell you about at the end. Aaron writes, I write this letter with regards to the proposed Bill 14. I am writing from three perspectives, all of which have come to be very intertwined. I write from the perspective of a participant in the Ottawa area No More Bullies tour, from the perspective of a trainer for the Canadian Red Cross Respect Ed anti-bullying program, and from my own personal experience. Aaron writes, in terms of the Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week, I believe that this is an important step in the right direction. What never fails to surprise me in my role as a bullying prevention trainer is how often students tell me that basic information on bullying is new information for them. I distinctly remember one student telling me that they sincerely did not know how much harm they could cause by calling another student a slut. On several occasions, students have reacted in shock when I informed them that bullying behaviors are often criminal behavior if the perpetrator is over the age of 12. These facts that may well be known to some are completely unknown to others, and disruptive, hurtful behaviors are sometimes the result of a lack of education. Having a Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week is an important first step to ensuring that students are educated and aware of issues surrounding incidents of bullying. She continues to write, I have a similar opinion with regards to proposed remedial programs for victims and perpetrators of bullying, professional development programs for teachers, and information for the public. I once again refer to the importance of education. Remedial programs for victims and perpetrators of bullying and aggression offer an outstanding opportunity for those involved to learn and grow from the incident. Perpetrators are forced to see and talk about the effects that their negative behaviors have had on others, hopefully opening their eyes to consequence of a scope greater than themselves. Victims can also learn from such an experience. Most importantly, they will see firsthand that the situation is being taken seriously, and that opposed to negative messages they may be receiving in other areas of their lives, they are important, and people do care about their well-being. Also proposed are professional development programs for teachers. Erin writes that she firmly believes that such programs are essential components in the process of creating safe learning environments for students. Often, she works with teachers in an anti-bullying context, and they express concerns of a large variety. I regularly hear that teachers are unaware of the specifics of the school's policy on bullying, which alone is concerning. Another common comment that I hear is teachers feel frustrated with the current process for dealing with bullying, because often no action is taken when they report what they see, either because of lack of effort or because of lack of ability. Educating teachers on what the school's policies are and what the process for dealing with bullying is vital in terms of addressing the issue of bullying behaviors occurring in a school context. If the teachers do not know and are not confident in the policies and procedures, the capacity of these powerful frontline bystanders to take action against bullying is undermined. Lastly, she would like to speak to the proposal that all persons who work at a school be required to report any acts of bullying they observe to the principal, and the principal's obligation to investigate and take action. The issue of reporting bullying behaviors is one that is of particular importance. Teachers and students alike have repeatedly expressed to her that reporting bullying or aggressive behaviors is not something that they are comfortable with, nor is it a process they fully understand. When a person observes bullying or aggressive behaviors and does not report it or take action against it, they are silent, tolerating the behavior. The lack of reporting that is occurring in our school system is perpetrating an environment in which bullying behaviors are ignored and therefore permitted, creating an unsafe learning environment for many of our students. Education on reporting is certainly needed, but reporting also needs to be mandatory for any person involved in a school setting. Of course, mandatory investigation and action following reporting is a crucial component of this process as well. She would like to conclude that she offers complete support for Bill 14 and has many strong components that, if implemented, can and will make our schools a healthier and safer place. Now back to me. When I was in high school, they preached the drinking and driving message to us at every opportunity they could get. It was in school assemblies, class presentations, field trips to the police station, posters around the school, ads on the radio, TV, and newspaper. And even though 20 years later, there's still stories of drinking and driving, most get the message and don't even think twice. This is where we need to take bullying. We need to educate kids to get them to a place where they don't even want to type something hateful online. We have a responsibility as parents, educators, and lawmakers to make the future safer for our kids. On behalf of the Magic 100 No More Bullies Tour, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Our tour also includes Scott Hagan, a communications undergrad at the University of Ottawa, and an active member of both our campaign as well as the Youth Play. We certainly appreciate it. Please do what's right for our kids so that we can keep them safe. Any child who is afraid to go to school because of bullying by their peers is one child too many. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And now it's time for the news. Because it's right on, the time is up. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Chair, if I may,
Pleased to have you here.
just if I may quickly thank Stu for the presentation today and thank him for his community